Hi, my name is Hannah Gambrell. I am the Alumni Relations Manager for the UNT Health Science Center. I am joined today by TCOM Alumnus, Dr. Steven Saenz. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Hannah. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we will just jump right into it. So firstly, when did you graduate from TCOM? Where did you complete your residency? And where are you currently in your career?
So I graduated from TCOM in May of 2017. I quickly started residency at my family medicine residency, and that was completed at the University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida. Go Gators. And after completing my residency there, I went ahead and started a sports medicine fellowship. So I'm currently located at the Sports Medicine Associates of San Antonio, and that is a private practice that's affiliated with the Texas Institute of Graduate Medical Education and Research.
Awesome. When or how would you say that TCOM prepared you for your residency and beyond? And how did your TCOM education prepare you for your boards?
So, TCOM, I really feel that TCOM has mastered this balance of a comprehensive and rigorous didactic education and curriculum, and they mix this with these small group sessions. And that really helps introduce students to the practical and pragmatic approach to practicing medicine. Doctors today, we're required to prove ourselves not only in that academic side of medicine, but also pragmatically in practice. And so really mixing these two things together helps us create this approach that is much more realistic and much more in line with what you're going to see when it's time to see patients personally. As far as board preparation, there's just such a large volume of information that you have to absorb in medical school. And TCOM's approach really helps you absorb all of this knowledge as much as you can and channel it and use it deductively. And that's not only when you're reading a question stem, but again, also when you're in that live patient encounter. And really, additionally, all those things put together is cohesively bound by the professors. They're welcoming, they're approachable, and they're so well versed in their own individual practices that they really, when you put all these things together, you're really getting an experience that you can't get anywhere else.
Definitely. That is certainly great to hear. And I'm sure that'll be very reassuring to student applicants. Why did you choose TCOM, or how did you know that TCOM was the best fit for you?
So what inspired me to at least look at TCOM was my father. So he himself is a TCOM graduate, and he's been my inspiration to pursue medicine, for as long as I've been interested in the medical career. And so that's where it began. And I just thought to myself, if TCOM really does produce physicians like the way my dad comes out and practices, and the respect that he has and the influence and the change that he makes with his patients, this is the kind of doctor that I want to be. But even after you look further into the osteopathic philosophy and the tenets that really create this intimate and individualized approach, this methodology is essential. People today, they feel disconnected from their doctors, and they feel like they're talking to someone who's only making decisions based on what data has proven and what studies are out there. But they want to give their own testimony for their own personal disease. They want their testimony to fall on listening ears. They don't want to just take the pill because that's what was read. They want to hear that this doctor is making the shared decision with the patient. They want to feel like they can invest trust in this doctor. And so again, when you employ these tenets that osteopathy really likes to bring in its philosophy, that is where this became the choice for me. I like this approach to medicine, and I really like this combination, again, of making this a shared decision with your patient. Ultimately, the end result of something where you see the patient and the doctor merging together for the plan is an outcome that we can all celebrate. An ailment cured, pain alleviated, and ultimately a quality of life that's been improved.
Very well said. And that's special that you get to share that connection with your dad. We love a good father-son alumni duo here at the Health Science Center. What is one of your favorite memories from your med school career? That could be a class or an activity or professor, really anything that stands out.
I think probably the one, I have a bunch of them, and I always remember, again, the small groups. Dr. Filippetto was my small group leader, And again, he really guided us through our first patient encounters. And I'll admit, it's awkward. You don't really know what to say in the beginning because you're starting to investigate some very personal sides for these patients. And so it was nice, again, to have Dr. Filippetto kind of guide you through those first few steps in patient interaction. Then there's always like OMM lab, and Dr. Steele always has a corny joke to crack. And then I also remember covering the Cowtown Marathon. So that for me was one of my first exposures to the organized chaos that exists in event coverage, especially for something where it's such a large population involved in the event. But really what looks like chaos is a very, very organized and streamlined demonstration of teamwork. And I got to finally appreciate that live in front, and then to be a part of it as well. Those things absolutely stand out.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned Cowtown, because that's still an opportunity that we give to students now. And it's a great opportunity for them to really be kind of on their own in charge of those patient cares, with obviously supervision kind of in the background. But it was awesome for me to see this year students getting to really get involved. So I'm glad you brought that one up. Lastly, what advice would you offer to an incoming TCOM student?
So, and this is just, again, because the profession of medicine involves continued education. I encourage all students to always ask questions. Take advantage of this opportunity to ask questions. Our career involves constant renewal of what we know, and what we know is constantly changing. This is perpetual. And so the only way to enhance your knowledge base is to remain curious. Questions lead to inquiry. Inquiry leads to answers. Answers leads to solutions, and solutions lead to change. So again, I would ask students to always, always, always keep the fear aside. Never be afraid to seek more guidance or more insight, especially in your time during medical school.
Very good advice. I'm sure that's something that students will heed. So thank you for that. And that is all the questions that I have. So thank you so much, Dr. Saenz, for joining us. I'm sure that, TCOM students can learn a lot from you. So we really appreciate it.
Happy to help. Absolutely.